Hello, 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 and welcome to Conversations with JR. I know that it has been an extremely long time since I have sat down and talked to you face to face. It's been what, almost about 6 months, but we won't get into that. I have been busy preparing for you, preparing new things for Conversations with JR. If you have not been following me on my Facebook page, my third book is out, 90 Days of Reflection, Renewal, and Discovery. It's out on Amazon. And my fourth book, The Conversation, which is a collection of all of my works, will be released soon. So thank you for all your support throughout the year and your continued support going into the new year. As you can see from my surroundings, I'm getting into the holiday spirit. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. And I want to end this year by talking to you and not talking to you about anything sad or anything dramatic, because we have had enough sad and we've had enough dramatic for the last 2 years of this pandemic, and it still plagues us. I think we're in our third mutation now, and now people are getting booster shots and so on and so on. And people are still trying to do the best that they can do to, enjoy this holiday season. I was able to go and travel to see my mom for Thanksgiving for the first time in 2 years. So I say stay safe, stay close to family, stay close to friends, and try your best to enjoy this holiday season. And while we are in the midst of this holiday season, enjoying the holiday season, please do not forget those who are less fortunate than you are. Those leftovers, I always say all those leftovers from all that good holiday food, make some plates, go out and feed the homeless. Sharing is definitely caring. But here is the topic that I would like to end this year, year 2021 on. I often talk about relationship topics. That's what Conversation with JR is about. But I also talk about a lot of personal topics also. The topic that I want to talk to you about today, being that we are ending this year, we are now in December. It's about a week or so towards, Christmas time is coming up. People are gathering together and people are reflecting on their lives because, again, like I said, we've been through a lot of things from the last 2 years due to this pandemic. I have been thinking about the things that keep family members apart, and relationships that break up, and what happens with those feelings and emotions when relationships break up. And one word come to mind: grudges. Holding grudges. I started thinking about my life, and I started thinking about my family and a lot of things that was going on in my family, and why the division, how did the division happen, and what keeps it going. And the only thing that I can think of is grudges. People holding grudges. And I really want you to think about what I'm saying, because a lot of people feel like, they get on the defensive and they want to be right. And these grudges go on and on and on for many a years. So I have my notes here today, and I'm going to refer to my notes, but I just want you to think about this topic: holding grudges, and what does it mean to you? What does it mean to your life? And what does it mean to your family life? Holding grudges lead to a lot of unforgiveness, and it leads to a lot of anger, and it leads to a lot of um uh, uh, brokenness, emotional brokenness, and stress. Think about it. We're told that forgiveness is a gift that we give ourselves. That when we forgive someone else for whatever the offense is, if we forgive someone else, it is a gift that we give ourselves, because we are freeing ourselves from the burden of carrying around the weight of unresolved anger. And that's what holding a grudge is. It is unresolved issues, unresolved anger. And sometimes grudges can start out as a minor offense, a very minor misunderstanding. It could be a lapse in communication, but it could be some gossip that was passed on, but a grudge can start off as a minor offense. And then over time, what happens is because of blame and accusations, continued blame and accusation, a grudge becomes out of proportion. It gets thrown out of proportion from what the original minor offense was. And what happens is the individuals that are involved in these grudges, they tend to forget the original reasons why there was a lapse in communication or why they're holding this offense against each other. Now, listen, the emotional burden of holding a grudge runs deep and it has lasting traumatic effects. And I bet you no one thinks about that. No one thinks about the emotional stress, the mental stress that people go through when they continuously think about this grudge and think about having to be around that person or maybe run into that person. This is the reason why I am talking to you about this during the holiday season. Let's start thinking about how we can resolve these grudges. Now, listen, it is not just the people, the two individuals who are holding these grudges who are affected by it. Think about the people that are around them, that are connected to them. They are affected by this grudge too, because no one wants to take sides. Or no one wants to seem like they are taking sides. No one wants to be that person. Be that person. Okay, so just think about it. When you are holding a grudge, whether it's against your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, an ex, a son or a daughter, you are not the only one that this grudge affects. You're not the only one. Listen, the relationship between families and friends are torn apart because of feud that started with a grudge. And sometimes these grudges can last a lifetime from generations to generation. And no one understands why this grievance began. And what is the purpose of holding this grudge? Who does it serve and who benefits from holding this grudge? Now, listen, I'm not going to take you into no long history of families that held grudges and stuff like that, but I don't know if you all heard of the Hatfields and the McCoys. That was a real family feud. If you read your history, that was a real family feud that happened back like in the 1860s or something like that. And it went on for 30 years. 30 years of holding this grudge. 13 people died before they ceased. And it was over something as little as someone said they stole a pig. Or someone said they had different political views about the Confederacy. But whatever it was, it started off as a grudge. And it lasted 30 years. 13 lives was 13 people died because of this grudge, and it was so much hate. Now you might be asking yourself, why didn't they just give the pig back? If it was that because of the pig, and it would have been so simple, right? Yes, it would have been so simple. But this is what I mean by when people take grudges and they blow them out of proportion. Now listen, this is just a historical fact that I just gave to you about, a grudge that people, hold. But regardless of it, that was 30 years of feuding, okay, through an unknown source, causing pain, death, and emotional suffering. Now, your grudge may not it may not result in death, but it's resulting in pain, emotional suffering, and some people hold so tightly onto a grudge that they don't even know that it's affecting them and it's affecting their health. Now, listen, I'm going to give you another example. We all know this tragedy of Romeo and Juliet, and they were lovers caught in between their family. It was a family feud. This resulted in their death. Now, I'm not trying to get dramatic and scare anybody and say, oh, you're holding a grudge and it's going to result in anybody's death. I'm just giving you examples of what happens when two individuals or individuals are caught in a grudge. Now, what happened is they died, and the family finally reconciled and recognized that it was their decision to hold on to an ancient grudge that was started by their ancestors. And this is what caused the two lovers to drink poison and to kill themselves. And finally, the family, a light bulb went off, and the family was like, we need to forgive one another and forget this grudge. How many times have you gone to funerals? We all know it. And someone has died, and the individual went to their grave holding a grudge. Now, I just presented you with two examples of how holding a grudge can have destructive consequences, because people were unwilling to listen to logic and consider how ignorant and selfish and how a minor misunderstanding slowly progressed to an extreme infraction. Think for a moment about the people who hold grudges unto death. You know, what they're doing is they regret the chance. When that person dies, what happens is they sit around now and they regret the chances that they had. You've had so many chances to reconcile, to mend this. Even if you reach your hand out and want to solve this grudge. If the other party decides that they don't want to have anything to do with you, you know what? Then you need to release yourself from that, because at least you have tried. Because in grudges, what happens is somebody always wants to be right, and while the other person, they want them to be wrong. Now, holding a grudge isn't waiting for someone to be the bigger person. This is not about someone, or be the bigger person. You hear that, be the bigger person, be the bigger person. This is not about being the bigger person and stepping up and admitting that, you're wrong, and allowing the other person to feel validated. That's not what solving a grudge should be about. It should not be about that. Holding a grudge means that there will be no winner or no loser, but a reconciliation. I love that. A reconciliation. Okay? That's what it should be. You know what? Let me suggest something. This is the holiday season, as I said before when I first opened Conversations with JR. The new year is coming in, 2022. Think about it. Do you really want to go into the new year holding on to the same grudges over and over and over, and missing out on what can be a fabulous, fantastic connection and relationships? And I'm even talking about people who have exes. And maybe that ex did cheat on you, and maybe that ex did abuse you emotionally and physically and psychologically. I've been through that. But what is it benefiting you to continue to hold on to these grudges? To hold on to it. Is it solving any problems in your life, or is it creating any problems in your life? Listen, after experiencing being sheltered in place for the last 2 years that we are, we're not, they have loosened some restrictions, and we still have to practice this social distancing. We still have to wear these masks. There's a lot of places that we can and cannot go. We are still being bombarded by this virus, marriages have been broken because of this pandemic. Friendships have been in fracture. There's a lot of things that has gone on. We have been underneath a lot of stress. We've been underneath death. We've been underneath economic disaster. Isn't it time? Don't you think that it is time to let bygones be bygones? And I'll be the first one to say that I have a lot of people that I need to go back and talk to and ask for forgiveness. Holding on to things. What does it matter? Who is right, who is wrong? This is not about having a winner. This is not about having a loser. This is about reconciliation. Mending the lines of communication, mending relationships, bringing family members back into the fold. There's so many people out there who I'm not going to go to this party because so and so is going to be there. I'm not going to be there because so and so going to be there. Oh, well, are you still talking to so and so? You know I don't get along with that person. Oh, for real. We have so much to look forward to in life. We have so much to be thankful for right now, here and now. We have so much to be thankful for. I know I do, and especially continuously to get through this pandemic. So I would like to challenge you, every single person who watches this video, share it, click like, share, comment. Think about what JR is saying to you when it comes down to grudges. Think about it. What is it worth to you holding on to the grudge? What is it benefiting you, your family members, your children? We need to set an example for them and teach them how to be problem solvers. The pain and the anger and the separation of holding on to a grudge, it's not beneficial and it's certainly not healthy. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Feliz Navidad, and Happy New Year, because this is going to be the last video for 2021. Conversations with JR will be back with all brand new topics on YouTube for 2022. In the meantime, I always say that I believe that a lot of misconceptions in life can be handled, solved, and resolved if we just sit down and have conversation. Be willing to hear the other person out. Don't be quick to be offended and think that people are out to get you. This should be a true season of love, togetherness, happiness, and joy. So, until the next time, I am hoping that you are willing to let go of the grudges and start healing as a family, healing friendships, going back to exes, ex-boyfriend, ex-husbands, ex whatever they are to you, and just say, listen, it was what it was, it is what it is. Let's call it truce. I thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and send a comment. Until the next time, 'tis the season to let go of grudges.